Studying abroad is very common for students in college. In fact, about 262,000 American students studied abroad in a foreign country last year. At Wake Forest University, studying abroad is very prevalent as well. About 60% of Wake Forest undergraduate students study abroad. Ali Pato is one of the 60% that chose to study abroad. But unlike most students that chose to study in Italy, France, Spain, and Australia, Ali Pato chose a unique place to do her studies. She selected the country of Nicaragua. I asked Ali why she didn't choose a more traditional place to study abroad. She answered very simply.
The Nicaragua trip really included everything I wanted, including class courses related to international health issues and nutrition, and a full immersion experience into a fascinating culture and hands-on volunteer work.
The program that Ali signed up for was a 5-week process during the months of June and July. She spent 2 weeks at Wake Forest University preparing for her trip and then 3 weeks in the actual country of Nicaragua. Now I would think spending 3 weeks in a country that speaks a different language with people you barely knew would be very difficult. But Ali said no.
It was a great experience. It really forced our group to bond and rely on each other as we navigated this new place together.
Ali was able to travel all over the country during her visit. The group's home base was in Managua, the capital of Nicaragua, but they also explored Granada, Umatepe, San Juan del Sur, and some of the rural communities. And after visiting these communities, Ali discovered Nicaragua was a very different place than the United States. About 48% of the country is below the poverty line, and Ali saw this especially while visiting the rural communities.
It was a really destitute living situation. There's no running water or indoor plumbing, and a lot of people only had one room hut. And our second week there, we went to an actual local market because we were about to go into the rural community that was covered in mud. And it's not just a mud puddle, but mountains and roads are completely caked in mud that makes it impossible to walk if you don't have rain boots. So we were going to try to buy rubber boots so that we could walk around in the community. And so we went to this market, and just walking in, first the stench just hit you, and you could see the raw fish lying on tables with hundreds of flies swarming around it, flies swarming around all of their produce, dirty water running throughout the market. Children were being bathed in the market. It was crowded with stray dogs that looked like they were starving, in addition to most likely sick with bugs and parasites. And it was overwhelmingly hot. There was no air circulation through this, and you could just tell that this is the way of life that they were used to.
But Ali was able to experience both sides of the poverty line. She told me about staying in 4-star hotels one night and the next night living in a place with no running water.
When we were in the community Kumaica Norte, we did not have electricity or indoor plumbing. So the way we were able to maintain our hygiene was with barrel showers in the outdoor area. We had a little makeshift screened in area that we had barrels filled with cool water, and whenever we had spare time, we would go out with our flip-flops on into the shower area and just pour the water from the barrels on ourselves to try to maintain some point of cleanliness.
Imagine for just 1 second that someone shut all the water off on your college campus and you were expected to shower using a barrel of water. And then they told you that you could not use any technology whatsoever and you were expected to live in one-room huts. I don't think any of us would know how to react to this. And this is the only way of life some Nicaraguans know.
Being out there in the community and experiencing life like they did really brought home the fact that this is how the Nicaraguans live and how lucky we are in America, and that we take it for granted a lot.
Surprisingly, this didn't affect the people of Nicaragua as much as one would think. They all had positive attitudes and really seemed to enjoy life. This really resonated with me, and Ali agreed. She said that the Nicaraguan people taught her more than she could have ever imagined.
I learned so much from the Nicaraguan people. Their lack of material luxuries in many cases forces them to really have a strong community relationship, and they really take pleasure in just being with one another rather than isolating themselves with technology, which is often done in America. And their pace of life is so different. They're not rushing from appointment to appointment. They really take time and being with the people they're with and making memories that way, which is something I definitely take with me.
Now, it wasn't all hard work. Allie was able to enjoy the fun side of Nicaragua as well.
We ziplined through the rainforest and hiked volcanoes and explored bat caves and were able to lay and relax on the Pacific coastal beach of San Juan del Sur, and were able to really experience the beautiful and diverse country that Nicaragua is.
3 weeks in a foreign country was able to really affect this girl's life. I asked her what her favorite experience was, and she responded, being with people and experiencing their culture.
At the end of one of our experiences in a rural community, the people presented this program that included different ethnic dances, moving speeches, and native songs. We were really able to see their appreciation, and the beauty that was the community was really demonstrated through this program.
Just 3 weeks, and she'd come back a changed person. Allie will tell anyone that this was one of the best summers of her life. She thoroughly enjoyed every aspect and would do it again in a heartbeat.